CJN under fire over Supreme Court's order on Naira notes. The Chief Justice of the Federation, all right, have come under fire for watching the Supreme Court judge pass a judgment restraining CBN and federal government led by Muhammadu Buhari, from implementing February 10th, 2023 as deadline for the existence of the old Naira notes, 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes denomination. Okay, so now that court ruling was done today by Justice Okoro. Okay, and it was filed in, the application was filed in by the three northern state governors, Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna, the governor of Zamfara State, and then the governor of Kogi State. All right, and now having passed that judgment, federal government and CBN are now restrained from implementing that deadline. And now civil society organizations and concerned citizens of Nigeria have actually trooped out to protest, okay, to protest that judgment, to protest that ruling, okay, telling Buhari that he should use his presidential executive order to override the Supreme Court's judgment. Okay, and in line with that, the same civil society organization has brought the CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria, okay, in under fire for watching this kind of judgment and asking him to use his power as CJN to, invalidate the Exparte order, okay, and do something different because that judgment is actually going to lead to vote buying. The people that are filing an application under APC actually want to spend their ill-gotten wealth for vote buying. So let's see what the civil society organizations have to say more. The Coalition of Civil Society Organizations, CSOs, of Nigeria on Wednesday asked Olukayode Ariwola, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, to vacate the order suspending the February 10 deadline for the swap of old Naira notes with new ones given by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, Police Nigeria reports that speaking during a news conference in Abuja, the national coordinator of the coalition, Obed Okukwe, said that Supreme Court lacks the jurisdiction to hear the case. We say it categorically that the Supreme Court does not have the jurisdiction to entertain that matter that has been presented before it by some state attorney general. We, the CSOs, are rejecting it. It is a plot to open bank votes to enable vote buyers and holders of illicit wealth to have cash to buy votes. We urge the CJN to hurriedly vacate the Exparte order in the overall interest of the Nigerian election, Okukwe said. Furthermore, Okukwe argued that the CBN policy has the backing of the federal government. The Apex Court had on Wednesday morning, in a lawsuit brought before it by the governors of Zamfara, Kogi, and Kaduna states, issued an interim injunction against the CBN and the federal government, allowing the old 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira notes to remain legal tender beyond February 10 deadline until the case is fully disposed. And wow, this is quite very bad. So the CSO, Coalition of Civil Society Organizations, have come out now and then have asked the CJN, Justice Ariwola, to come and vacate that Exparte order. That is a serious one. So the question now is, will he do it? Is he ready to do it? Because the truth is that Nigeria currently is at a dilemma. I'll call it dilemma because some are saying, that deadline and with the scarcity of the new Naira note is causing economic hardship. And that is true anyway, because a lot of people now don't have access. Banks are closing down. With the DSS going to some banks in Abuja to arrest bank workers that are holding the money. Now people are selling our Naira in black market because of that scarcity. Okay. Now the question that is coming is, because on the other hand, we're looking at buying votes. People want to buy votes with the old Naira note. They've stashed it and now they're disappointed by the policy and can't use it. Okay, and if they're allowed to use their old note that they have stashed to buy the vote, then the election obviously will not be free and fair. It will be full of financial inducement on the electorate. So the question is, does this suffering worth it? Well, is this a sacrifice? Is everybody able to pay this sacrifice? Okay, of allowing the suffering till the end of the month until after election, then everything can come back to normalcy? Or is it that they should allow the old Naira note to run so that everybody can have money and have a peaceful life, and then the unscrupulous politicians can now have access to spend their stashed old currency for vote buying, and then that will again influence the outcome of the election? Is that what we want? So Nigerians actually need to choose, because the truth is that this crop of politicians, we really don't need them anymore. They have given us enough troubles. They have given us enough troubles, and we cannot continue like this. That is the truth. We can't continue like this. We really can't continue like this. So this is what the CSO, Coalition of Civil Society Organizations, is saying, that look, we'll stand against the ruling of the Supreme Court, and we're calling on the CJN to vacate that Exparte order immediately, because that policy, that CBN policy was backed by the presidency and by the federal government. So the question is, why is El-Rufai suddenly turning a rebel against Buhari because of this monetary policy? Okay, and because of his support for Tinubu. What is his interest? Okay, because apart from supporting Tinubu to be president, how is that going to bring goodness to Nigerians? That is the question I will need to answer. What is Rufai's interest in all of this? Because he has never been patriotic to Nigerians. All the killings happening in the north, he has never done anything. I'm sure in the midst of all of these, they still want the bandits to have access to money in the north. Because the bandits because all the activities of the bandits in the north had never been condemned by El-Rufai. Had never been condemned by El-Rufai. Okay, it's quite unfortunate that we're in this mess in this country. Somebody says it's like these people call themselves CSOs are a bunch of criminals and elements of evil. They want to plunge this country into crisis by all means. Aren't they? I did not see what's going on in the country. People are in a disguise, turned to be madness on the pretense that they were unable to get funds to care for themselves. While the entire populace see the judgment as relief, yet some miserable elements are saying that they are against it. So if they were not comfortable with the judgment, they should leave the country. Can you imagine? Somebody say you are a fool, an ignorant legal officer. Did you know what is going on in the country? Somebody say Tinubu has confirmed times without number that he is an evil man who is bent on rigging this election with the connivance of INEC and the Supreme Court. God will disappoint all of them. Confusion everywhere. Somebody say if you disagree with the ruling, appeal. Simple. If you disagree with the ruling, then appeal it. Simple. All these issues is because of one man, Tinubu. Old man, go and rest. It's true. All this is just because of Tinubu. That is the truth. The PDP is not doing anything. Labour Party is not doing anything. YPP, all other parties are not doing anything. It's just APC and Tinubu. Simple. Throwing Nigeria into confusion. It's quite unfortunate. So we are waiting for CJN response to civil society organizations' request to vacate that Exparte order. That is all. Let's see what will happen, what Ariwola will do within the next 24 hours. So thank you for listening, and let's have a comment.